All right, guys. Welcome to Burn the Ship. My name is Ezra. I'm your host. This is the podcast where we connect professionals and entrepreneurs and help you go all in on your business. And without further ado, let my guest introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Ariel Fristoe. I'm the founder and artistic director of Out of Hand Theater.
Ariel, kind of tell me a story. What kind of led you to get to where you're at now?
Yeah. Okay. So I went to Emory University for college, and I got out, and some of my friends and I kind of looked around, and I always thought I would be a theater director. My dad was a theater director. He was actually the artistic director of Theater Emory.
Don't fall too far.
Yeah, exactly. My parents met at Boston Children's Theater when they were in high school. So, like, my whole family has been in theater forever.
That's so awesome.
So that's what I thought I would do. But then my friends and I looked around, in our mid-20s, and we realized there were already plenty of good theater companies in Atlanta. And there still are. Atlanta has a ton of good theater.
Booming filming industry here, isn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't back then.
Okay.
But back then we looked around and we thought, Atlanta does not need another theater company, and we're never going to be able to compete with the budget size or the star power of the Alliance Theater, our biggest theater, or Broadway at the Fox. Never mind film and television, which we saw back then in 2001 was the real competition, if you're talking about arts and entertainment. So what we decided to do instead of kind of making more traditional theater was to mix theater with other social events so that you don't just see a play, there's also a party or a dinner and there's some kind of conversation, there's interaction. It's a social event. It's fun. But there's always theater as part of it. And then also to only make work about the issues that were most important to our community so that it was stuff that people were really passionate about, that they would care about it. And to do that in partnership with subject matter experts, with the people who know the most about those issues.
Right.
So that's what we've done ever since, is we make these events that combine art with information and conversation, and we always do it in partnership with the experts. And the other thing that makes us unusual is that we hardly ever produce an event in a building that's called a theater, even though there are theaters all over town. What we do instead is we take theater into spaces where people are already together. So we bring our events to people's workplaces and their schools and their houses of worship and even people's living rooms. And like every year we do a tour of like 40 to 50 living rooms where we do awesome. A one-act play with a cocktail party and a community conversation about a local issue.
That's so cool. So like that's very very specific niche that you guys are in, and you guys are probably one of one in that. I would assume that you guys are the only ones that are kind of in that, but that's also very, very viable for business. Yeah. It's a business model that nobody's had, and you guys are gonna be the first ones to take off with it, which is super awesome. And it's things that people relate to very well, and then you kind of create that hospitality side with it, which is super awesome. It's just not something that's common. Because my mom's a big play girl. My mom goes to all the Fox Theater plays and all that thing, so I'm definitely going to put her on to you so where she can reach out and kind of see what you guys got going on. But kind of, what are you guys working on right now?
Okay, we've got two big events that we're about to open. One of them is we just won the Bloomberg Public Art Challenge. So this is $1 million from Michael Bloomberg, Bloomberg Philanthropies, for major cities across the country to do a year or more of free public art programs on a topic that city selects. So that's the awesome. Proposal that we won with, it's a collaboration between us, Out of Hand Theater, National Black Arts Festival, the mayor's office, and then the CDC Foundation. And that's because the topic that the CDC chose, and they're actually the ones who got us all together, is health equity and how the effects of systemic racism on health outcomes. And I didn't even know the CDC was...
Like studying that?
Yeah, was studying that.
But I didn't even know that could be a thing, and now that I do. You've informed me, and I guarantee every one of these viewers too.
Yeah. So we are launching with the mayor's launch dinner at the Atlanta History Center on March 1st.
That's going to be so cool. Please send us an invite.
Thank you.
We would love to be a part, help you out, because that's one of the things we like to stay connected with our people.
And so that launches March 1st, and then we have our next show in Holmes, the one I was telling you about with the cocktail party. That premieres on February 23rd. So it is a really busy
You're about to be real busy.
Yeah. And that one is, we're doing a collaboration with the ACLU of Georgia.
Okay.
And it's a play that we commissioned about Georgia's divisive concepts law. So this is the law that the teacher in Marietta got fired over recently for reading a book to her class that she bought at that school's book fair.
Really?
So we're trying to help raise awareness because people don't know that this law exists, but it really limits what teachers can say in the classroom about racism or about LGBTQ issues, and it's making a lot of teachers' jobs difficult and their lives uncomfortable.
Right, because and it's hard because you're dealing with people, so there's going to be human error in everything we do, and everybody's got their own opinion and their own voice to all these things, so you don't know what that one person's going to say, and then everybody in the classroom's parents could think just alike, and there'd be that one kid's parents that don't, and then that sends it all to an edge, which is insane, that we live in a world that's that way now, but that's not going to change, The bottle's been opened. It's not going to get closed anytime soon.
Yeah.
Which is it's however you stand on it, but it's definitely something that you guys are using and leveraging very well to do what you guys are doing, and I can appreciate it.
Thank you.
And kind of what would you say, like when you first got into the filming and production side, what would you say was something that you would look back on and you would be like, I wish I did this a little bit better at the beginning?
Oh, so many things.
But the one thing.
Oh, what I wish I did different. I mean, I really feel like we just lucked out in a lot of things that when we did the same thing years later and something really didn't work out, we were like, oh my gosh, if that hadn't worked out the first time, I don't know if that program could have continued. We were just lucky. And then we were able to get enough foundation to kind of build and be able to work through our mistakes. So, like, one thing is, when the shutdown happened, we had done like a little bit of film and video before then, but not that much. We were mostly doing live plays, live actors. But then, of course, during the shutdown, it was like, okay, now we're going to have to be, a lot of programs are going to happen on Zoom, and we're definitely going to be making some film and video. And we just lucked out that the first couple of production companies that we hired to work with us were excellent. And so we didn't really know that, like, not everybody is excellent. And so that when we got later down the line and we hired a company without, a whole lot of vetting and things didn't work out, we were like, oh, okay.
Only 90% of people are good. That other 10% we don't know about. That's what I always say. Because 90% are good. 90% of people will help you. That other 10%, you don't know what they got going on.
Yeah.
But they might be battling their own battles.
I think these people were really trying. They didn't have the...
Weren't good business owners.
Yeah, and they just didn't have the expertise that they need or experience they needed.
I got you. Yeah. So that's kind of anything else that you, or is that just that you vet them a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that answer.
And then me and you had talked about this before we were on air, but you guys said that you guys were kind of doing something with Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
I would love to know about that.
This is so exciting for us because, nonprofit arts organizations like us do not usually have anything to do with places like Harvard Business School.
Harvard Business School, yeah.
So they are writing a case study on our company. So they flew two Harvard Business School professors and a graduate student to Atlanta in December to spend a couple of days like interviewing with us, meeting with people, going to our programs. And they are publishing the case study this spring and flying me to Boston in April for the presentation of it. Oh. And it is called Out of Hand Theater, Monetizing Creativity.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, which I thought was so interesting because like we're a nonprofit. We think about our work in terms of our goal is not to make money.
Right.
And our goal is not even really arts and entertainment. Mm-hmm. Our goal is racial justice and economic justice. Those are kind of the things that ground all of the social issues that we work on. But it was so interesting to realize that the business model that we have come up with that is allowing us to thrive and to grow achieves our goals while being a really, an innovative business model that Harvard Business School would want to write about.
Right, which is insanely cool. Like, did you ever, when you first started this, you said you started in 2001? Did you think that would be a thing in 2024?
Never.
Well, actually, end of 2023.
No, never. And that is one of the long list of things that were never in my wildest dreams. Another one was 2019. We did a program called Decatur Dinners where we gathered 1,000 people on one night mostly in homes, churches, other houses of worship, all in the little city of Decatur. for facilitated conversations about racial equity over dinner.
Right.
Each one launched by a live performance of a short play. So we hired dozens of actors and facilitators and sent them to people's homes all over Decatur. And what I never expected was I was on All Things Considered and Morning Edition on NPR. And I was like, not in my wildest dreams did I think little old me was going to be
Right.
on All Things Considered. And then it's kind of been going like that since there.
That's so awesome.
The other one last year, oh gosh, I guess now 2 years ago, because this is 2024. So 2022, the AJC named me one of their everyday heroes in their, like, they did this Thanksgiving special edition where they named, I don't know, 100 or something.
I didn't know I was in the presence of royalty over here.
And then the newest one was just in 2023. I was named one of the 500 most influential Georgians.
Really?
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's awesome. But no, but it stands true though. What you do, and like now I get to meet you and put a face to what you do. I mean, you seem like a very genuine woman. You know, a very genuine person.
you.
But what you do is so specific and so needed, honestly, in the world. Just because there's so much turmoil that goes into talking about that with people, and you're making it a lighter subject to talk about. You know, putting that play on and then having a dinner, making them have that conversation, as opposed to people not having the conversation. Silence is what gets people in trouble with all these things.
Oh my gosh, I love that you picked up on that. Just like, I mean, and not having ever been to one, that is exactly what we're trying to do.
I know, because that silence is what makes us fight the most. That's what they want. That's what the media wants of us, is us to fight. Because that's what they do. They nitpick it to where they do that. They leverage stories. You know what I mean? That's what they do. They get paid to do it. There's nothing wrong with it, guys. I'm not hating on you guys.
Yeah. No, but that's
but I caught you.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Is that if you are a guest or a host, especially in someone's home.
Yes.
And you sit down and break bread with them, and you watch a short play that engages your emotions and puts a human face and story on something that otherwise might
be a sore topic.
Yeah, then people are just so much kinder and more respectful to each other, and they really listen to each other.
And then it makes them start thinking differently. Like, why did I think like that for so long? You know, and it opens up their mind. You know, it gets their wheels turning. They're like, oh my God, was it me or was it them? Which one's been going on? Which one's been going on? You know, for sure. But you know, I don't usually ask this question, but but I'm going to right now. What's kind of your dream for the next 5 to 10 years for what you guys got going on?
Yeah.
Because you seem like you've got a well thought out plan of what you've attacked for the last 20 years. But I kind of want to know what your next 5 to 10 look like.
So what I'm working on doing right now is becoming a national leader in arts and social justice collaborations.
That's gonna be awesome.
So I'm glad that it's going so well here in Atlanta. Now I want to take it everywhere else.
Right.
So we're working with a company in Minneapolis, Mixed Blood Theater, on bringing our equitable dinners model to Minneapolis. And then I'm presenting at the big national professional theater conference this summer in Chicago on our business model to try to help, because theater companies, unfortunately, are really struggling right now. And so I want to see, first of all, how can I take our work national? And second of all, how can I help other arts organizations use our business model or just build a different one that maybe in part inspired by ours so that they can thrive too, and so that they can have the greatest impact possible in their communities.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So yeah, it seems like you got the right ideas. I need to come hang out with you for a little while.
Please be my guest.
You know, and what would you say that you did? You know, I asked you what you did really bad. What did you do really good when you first started? What was the one thing that you knew you could lean on at all times?
Ooh, from the very beginning. I mean, definitely my friends.
Okay.
I had a great group of people who I started out of hand with. And I never ever would have done it alone. In fact, my best friend Maya was really the person who's the one who got us all together. And then slowly over time, everybody else trickled away.
Kind of fizzled away.
They moved away. They went to graduate school. They had a major career pivot.
Multiple kids, doing whatever they do.
Yes. And so I was finally like the last man standing. But I think also from the very beginning, taking a look at the market and going, there's enough of this thing that I want to do. What can I do differently that will serve a real need?
Right, exactly. And then, and I guess it was probably about 2018, 2019 is, you said you guys blew up, the last 4 years it's kind of blown up, and I know why. I know why. You guys are standing for everything that's going on in public, and it's kind of helping people get through those conversations. Because I appreciate you, what you do so much. You have no idea. Like, because I truly do understand exactly what you're doing, and it's awesome. I love it. You know, I have a passion for those type of things. I like to help people, and I like people to talk. You know, I'm an argumentative person. I'll argue with a brick wall. You know, but if I got somebody else to have a real conversation with me, we'll sit there and have it for hours. You know, we'll sit there, and that some of the people probably become some of the best friends. You know, through things like that. And I bet you've made so many friends through doing what you do. That's insane.
Yeah, and I've heard so many amazing stories. I mean, just the stories that people have out there.
Yes.
It blows my mind.
So many different walks of life, and we're all the same. You know, that's what me and Kevin were talking about earlier, and the guy from Most Ministries we talked about, and he's like, man, it's really all perspective. It's all what you've been through and what you've done, and then you just got to get people to kind of come to a common ground because we're all more similar than we think we are. And I was like, man, that's so incredible, man. That's awesome. So I've been blessed to be around two people today that help people. This is awesome. Have a good day. But no, kind of, what would you, you know, do you want to add to anything that, you know, that we've kind of said, you know, right over so far?
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add in terms of, so I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur until maybe 5-6 years ago, but now I really do, and I'm really leaning into that. And one of the things that I think has really helped me grow the company and succeed since I started looking at my work through that lens is networking. And I think that it is, you cannot underestimate the power of networking, and that it's so important if you want to be successful in business to just put yourself out there, get out there. And, you know, I mean, I think pretty much everybody hates networking when they start. And I mean, there might be
the little guy on your shoulder. The little guy on your shoulder is telling you like, don't do it. And this one's like, you have to do this. This is something that could be good for you. And the other one's like, you're not gonna get nothing from it.
Yes, but, and you're like, this is really awkward. I feel uncomfortable.
Then you get there and you start talking to people, and you're like, wow, I was meant for this.
Yeah, but if you can get comfortable with it and just get good at it, that you have to know and make friends with the decision makers in order to be really successful, especially
in business.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, at least here in Atlanta.
No, yeah, and especially for mine. Well, you know, we're in the payments processing world, so we have to meet the decision maker. You know, like that's who we have to be in touch with. I can't build a relationship with, you know, their favorite employee, and they're just gonna be like, I don't care, you know.
Right.
But that favorite employee could get me to meet the DM, but I still have to win over the DM to get their business from them, which, you know, and it's very hard to do. But networking is something that we do a ton of in this office, a ton. So we host, it's an event I'd like you to come to. I don't know if you're busy. February 13th at Governor's Gun Club in Kennesaw. We host a networking event. It's about 80 to 100 small businesses, and we do it quarterly, and it's all people that are, you know, our clients and or in our network, because your net worth's only gonna be as big as your network.
Yes. Okay. I would love to.
Yes, and I'll give you an invite to that and everything. But no, that's crazy that you said networking, because it really is. It really is everything, especially as being an entrepreneur, is everything. And I'd always learned about it in college, and I was like, you know, you're just BSing me right now. Like my professor's like, y'all just telling me this because y'all get paid to say these things. Started working, and I was like, I called my favorite professor. I called her. I was like, Dr. Johnson, I appreciate you so much. I called her and I said, thank you so much. She's like, why are you calling me right now? What do you do? What do you want? And I'm like, I'm telling you, thank you so much. Like all these things that you told me would be true in class are the things that I do every day now. So like talking to people, getting on phone calls, going and sitting in there with a different professor that you've never had, and building a rapport with them because it was stuff that she would force us to do. Yeah. And then networking, she'd make us go to events at school that none of us wanted to go to. Yeah. Like, she's like, you're an athlete. I'm going to send you to this event that I know you know nobody at, so you have to go and make friends. And I'm like, I look back on it, I'm like, I appreciate that so much, because I didn't understand it at the time, but now that I look back on it a year later, and I'm, you know, 2 years later from doing it, I'm like, you really do know what you were doing. Like we didn't deserve you. You know what I mean? She's such a sweet soul and awesome. It was awesome.
Okay, well you were ahead of me because I did not go to business school. I never took any business classes in college. I didn't take the one class that was offered in the theater major.
I didn't even take business school. I didn't go to school for business.
Oh, okay.
I went to school for sports.
Oh, and you still had this professor who taught this to you. Interesting.
She was smart because she wanted all of us. She always told me that I would never work in sports unless it was doing data analytics or working in a front office somewhere. But I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to be a coach. I'm
Yeah,
going into
right.
sales or I'm gonna be a coach.
Yeah.
I ain't doing either of those. I ain't doing what you're talking about. And then I got into sales, and I was like, I appreciate you so much. If it wasn't for her, like I would have been lost when I first started. And I grew up with parents that both do sales, but without that, because my parents don't have to network. They don't
Yeah.
have to do any of those things because it's all giving leads. Or my dad's a manager at this point in time in life, so he don't have to do nothing. He's just yelling at me, running around. And then my mom's been doing what she's done since she was 18 years old. So she's had a book of business, like it was before networking was even huge, where she was doing it. So she's acquired no telling how many people. If you ever need office furniture, let me know.
Okay.
But so I was blessed to know that I kind of knew I liked sales, but I didn't know the back side of it, the back end of it, because I was never shown that side of it. Because they never had to do that, that was just because of the industries they were in.
Yeah.
Then I get into this industry, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I need to network. I was like, I need to bad.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
So I, on the side, I teach at Emory now.
Mm-hmm.
I just teach one course a semester, but I run this little program there that's an arts management program. So they actually have a concentration in arts management for undergraduate students.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a joint program between the business school and the college. And then if you enroll in it, you get to take classes. You get to take arts classes if you're a business student, or business students classes if you're an art student, and then everybody takes my arts administration course and then my capstone course. And just being around the business school and teaching those classes has taught me so much.
Because that is one thing now that I look back, I wish I would have went to business school. But I didn't know where I was going to be when I started. Thought I was going to be playing in MLB right now. Like and you are having a different conversation right now. I didn't exist in the sales world to myself 8 months ago. Well, really, probably after I broke my hand, so probably about a year ago. I broke my hand in January last year, right before season started, and I was like, God almighty. I was like, maybe I'd make it. No. Look at me here in Kyle Parkway now.
Yeah.
But God put you here for a reason,
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. So.
Yeah, and I thought that I would be primarily a theater artist all of my life, and I still am an art. I mean, I have been a professional artist all of my adult life, and I still am one. But what I didn't know was that I would be even more excited about and actually satisfied by getting to be the one who puts the projects together and hires the artist to do it rather than doing the artistic work myself all of the time.
Right.
And that's been really exciting.
You like that production side.
Yeah, and it's like what can I make rather than what can I do myself? What can I make what I can make happen is so much bigger and more exciting than just what I can do on my own.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is super awesome. So I'm gonna ask you, do you know where the illusion burn the ship came from? You can say yes or no. You say.
Well, you told me.
I did. We'll tell them.
But tell me again.
We'll tell the folks. Central American Conquistador Hernan Cortez lands in Central America. Him and his men and their armada of ships, could have been 5 ships, could have been 200 ships, but I wouldn't think it was 200 back then because they had to build all of them by hand.
Yeah.
A little bit slower than they do now. But he made his men get off and take all their supplies, disassemble the ship, and told them that we're gonna call it all on fire. And he said we're gonna die. We're gonna make it here. We're gonna die trying. And that's the same thing that we use for entrepreneurs out there. You got to go all in on your business. And what was that? What was that feeling like to know that you were all in? Or let me reframe that. When did you know that you were all in? When did you get that light bulb switch of like, I'm gonna make this work?
Yeah. Okay. So sidebar, which you're welcome to not use. I have a friend named Christina Wallace who is a successful serial entrepreneur, I guess as she calls it, and has just published this really cool book called The Portfolio Life, where she talks about thinking about your whole life, although she's concentrating a lot on your professional life, as a portfolio in the way that you might think of like a financial portfolio,
right,
so that you don't have to just do one thing. And I think about that in relation to my own life, in that I don't know that I did go all in on Out of Hand to begin with, because at first there was no money in it. I mean, there was no money in it for years. So I was incredibly lucky, and I had a side job working for a magazine that I did 6 weeks a year, 1 week at a time, where they would fly me around and I would help put out a magazine on site at air shows, of all things.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
so it was
cool.
like, just, you're in your 20s. I didn't have kids yet. Not that many bills. I was content to be poor. And so
my scenario right now.
Okay, yeah. I remember it well. So that was like almost enough money for me to live on. And so then making just a little bit of money from my art. And then I've done adjunct teaching at Emory for a long time, that I kind of put together this portfolio until Out of Hand got big enough that I finally had to go, okay. I wrote grants for other theater companies around town because I'm a good grant writer, until finally, I think what happened was I realized I don't have, like, this job has become so big, this company has become so big that and I've got a husband, I've got a kid, you know, I really want to be there for them. I can't do anything else but this anymore.
Right.
And then I told you I still teach a course every semester at Emory because I.
So you got swindled back into that one, didn't you? No, you can help it. You just like to serve people, so that's okay. That's okay. Because I originally went to school to be a teacher, and I was like, not for me.
Okay.
I went to the student teaching. I was like, this is not for me. I don't know why. I don't even like school. Why am I here?
Yeah.
What was I thinking? You know.
I taught high school for 1 year, my first year out of college, and I was terrible at it.
Made
and
it
I
right
hated
back.
it.
Made it went right back to college. Yeah, I can appreciate that. But yeah, tell the people where to find you.
Oh, yes. Please find us at outofhandtheater.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Ariel Fristoe, and Facebook.
Yep, and they're awesome. They're doing awesome stuff, people. Y'all go find them. Reach out to her. If you guys need anything, you want to play done in-house, let her know. If you're in the Atlanta area, she would love to serve you and burn the ship. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.